Imagine lying in bed when every siren in your city screams at once. You have 90 seconds. 90 seconds to grab your children, sprint to a shelter, and pray that a machine somewhere above you, spinning radar dishes, firing interceptors, calculating at the speed of thought, does its job before a ballistic missile turns your neighborhood into ash. That is not a movie. That is Israel right now in March 2026. Since February 28th, Iran has launched over 300 ballistic missiles and more than 2,000 drones at Israeli cities. Cluster warheads, hypersonic gliders, drone swarms designed to overwhelm, exhaust, and bankrupt the shield. But Iran is also doing something far more dangerous. It is hunting the radar itself. Because without the radar, the entire shield goes blind. And a blind shield cannot save anyone. Tonight, we go inside the most powerful radar-based missile defense system ever built, how it works, why it is being pushed to its absolute breaking point, and whether it can survive what Iran is throwing at it right now. Every second of this matters. Let's go. Israel's radar shield has been tested before, but never like this. On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched coordinated strikes directly against Iran, targeting Tehran missile infrastructure and military compounds across the country. Iran responded with one of the most intense missile campaigns in modern military history. Hundreds of ballistic missiles and thousands of drones screamed toward Israeli cities in coordinated waves. Families raced to reinforced shelters. Air raid sirens wailed simultaneously across Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and Haifa. Schools closed. Airports shut down. The entire Israeli airspace locked. But above those terrified millions, something extraordinary was already in motion. The ANTPY-2 radar, the most powerful ground-based missile tracking system on Earth, locked onto the incoming threats. Command centers lit up. Interceptors clawed upward into the black sky, chasing death at supersonic speed. The shield had faced wars before. But this time, the scale, the ferocity, and the sophistication of the attack was something the world had never seen. The most critical radar battle in history had begun. At the heart of Israel's entire defense network sits one extraordinary machine, the ANTPY-2 radar, manufactured by Raytheon and regarded by defense experts as the most capable ground-based ballistic missile tracking system ever deployed. Operating in the X-band frequency spectrum using an active electronically scanned array, this radar can detect a ballistic missile launch at ranges exceeding 3,000 kilometers in forward-based surveillance mode. That means it sees an Iranian missile the moment it clears its launch pad, before most soldiers even hear the alert. Within milliseconds, it calculates the missile's speed, trajectory, altitude, warhead type, and projected impact zone. It then automatically assigns the correct interceptor from the correct defensive layer. No human delay, no hesitation. A single ANTPY-2 unit costs close to $500 million. It is mounted across 5 massive 40-foot trailers. It requires 90 trained soldiers to operate, and without it, the entire THAAD missile defense system goes essentially blind. It is not just a radar, it is the brain of the shield. Israel does not rely on one weapon. It relies on a masterpiece of layered engineering, a defense umbrella built specifically to counter Iran at every altitude, every range, and every attack profile simultaneously. At the lowest layer, Iron Dome knocks out short-range rockets, mortars, and drones between 4 and 70 kilometers. Above that, David Sling targets medium-range cruise and ballistic missiles between 40 and 300 kilometers. Higher still, Arrow 2 intercepts long-range ballistic missiles inside the upper atmosphere. And at the very top, Arrow 3 hunts missiles in space before they re-enter Earth's atmosphere, eliminating chemical or biological warhead risks entirely before debris can fall on cities. The ANTPY-2 radar feeds targeting data to all of these layers simultaneously, creating a unified, automated kill chain that operates faster than any human reaction time. Each layer exists so that if one fails, the next catches what slips through. It is not a wall. It is a living, thinking machine built to outsmart death from every direction at once. Iran studied Israel's shield for years, and it identified one critical vulnerability: the radar. Because if you destroy the eye, the entire body goes blind. Since February 28, 2026, Iran has systematically hunted down AN/TPY-2 radar installations across the Middle East with terrifying precision. On March 1, satellite images confirmed the complete destruction of a THAAD AN/TPY-2 radar at Muwafaq Salti Air Base in Jordan, wiped out by Iranian ballistic missiles. Another AN/FPS-132 early warning radar worth $1.1 billion was damaged at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Additional radar systems were struck in the UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia. In a single 24-hour window on March 8, Iran claimed the destruction of 4 separate THAAD radar systems across the region. Each destroyed radar cost approximately $500 million. Each destroyed radar reduced the detection window for incoming missiles, meaning Israeli air raid sirens now sometimes trigger only upon missile impact rather than during the approach. Iran was not fighting the shield. It was dismantling the shield's ability to see. The 158 words, the single most consequential strike of the 2026 war happened not over Israel, but at a desert air base in Jordan, Muwafaq Salti Air Base. Home to over 60 American fighter jets, including F-35Vs and F-15E Strike Eagles, was struck by Iranian ballistic missiles with devastating precision. Satellite images captured on March 2, 2026 showed the AN/TPY-2 radar, the heart of the THAAD battery station there, surrounded by debris, blackened and destroyed. Photographs confirmed 213 foot craters in the sand beside the radar, evidence that Iran fired multiple missiles to ensure the kill. Defense analysts called it an operationally significant catastrophe. Without the AN/TPY-2, a THAAD battery cannot independently search for, track, or target incoming missiles. It can still fire interceptors, but only with dramatically reduced effectiveness using secondary sensor data. The radar cannot be quickly replaced. Producing a new one takes years, and the loss of even one, according to munitions expert N.R. Jensen Jones, changes the entire defensive picture across Israel, Jordan, and the Levant corridor permanently. While Iran hunted radars, Israel and the United States were burning through interceptors at an alarming rate. In the first 36 hours of the war alone, the U.S. and its allies fired nearly 800 interceptors from air, land, and sea, including 70 THAAD interceptors, each costing $12.7 million per shotting. In the June 2025 12-day war, the U.S. expended over 150 THAAD interceptors, roughly 25% of its entire global arsenal. Now, just 9 months later, Iran was firing again at even greater intensity. On March 18, reports emerged that Israel had told Washington it was running critically low on ballistic missile interceptors. Hours later, the Israeli government approved an emergency transfer of $26 million to the Defense Ministry, voted on by phone late on a Saturday night. Meanwhile, Lockheed Martin produced only 96 THAAD interceptors in all of 2025. Even with an emergency expansion pledge, ramping up to 400 per year takes time that the battlefield will not wait for. The shield was holding, but its ammunition was bleeding out fast. Understanding why Israel's shield is under such pressure requires understanding exactly what Iran is firing. Iran's missile arsenal is the largest and most diverse in the Middle East, and it keeps growing faster than the West can build weapons to stop it. The Shahab 3, with a 300-kilometer range, reaches Israel easily at Mach 3. The Ahmad 1 stretches to 700 kilometers with precision guidance. The Khabar Shikan travels 2,000 kilometers at Mach 8 using solid fuel, allowing surprise launches with zero preparation time. And most terrifying of all, the Fatah hypersonic missile. Traveling at Mach 13 to Mach 15, it covers 5 kilometers every single second. It changes trajectory mid-flight to confuse interceptors, and it leaves the AN/TPY-2 radar with less than 30 seconds to detect, calculate, and fire a response. Iran currently holds an estimated 2,000 to 3,000 active missiles and produces approximately 100 new ones every single month. By 2027, that arsenal could exceed 5,000 weapons. The volume alone is designed to exhaust every layer of the shield simultaneously. Israel's answer to the relentless Iranian barrage was bold, historic, and aggressive. Stop intercepting missiles in the air and destroy the machines that fire them on the ground. Since February 28, Israeli aircraft have conducted approximately 500 strikes using over 6,000 munitions across Iran, hitting missile launch sites, production facilities, command infrastructure, and mobile launcher positions. IDF Chief of Staff Major General Ayal Zamir confirmed that over 300 Iranian ballistic missile launchers, out of an estimated 410 to 440 total, had been rendered inoperable. The results were dramatic. By the 10th day of the war, Iranian missile and drone attacks had dropped by more than 90% compared to the opening days. Ballistic missile attacks fell sharply. Drone swarms thinned. The pressure on the ANTPY-2 radar networks eased slightly as fewer simultaneous threats demanded tracking, but Iran's decentralized, hidden, mobile launcher network meant complete elimination was impossible. Hundreds of launchers concealed in civilian areas, underground, or in pre-positioned locations kept firing. The storm had been weakened, but it had not been stopped. Of all the threats Iran deploys, one exposes the most brutal economic reality of this war: the cheap Shade attack drone. Each Shade costs approximately $20,000 to $60,000 to produce. Each Shade Interceptor used to shoot one down costs $12.7 million. Each Iron Dome Interceptor costs $50,000. Iran floods the sky with hundreds of drones simultaneously, not primarily to cause damage, but to force Israel to spend millions stopping weapons that cost almost nothing. The economic drain is intentional and calculated. Drones also fly low and slow, making them harder for the ANTPY-2's high-altitude ballistic tracking radar to engage efficiently. They can destroy billion-dollar radar systems with a single small explosive payload. 6 American soldiers were killed in the opening days of the war when a drone struck their installation, a base that had no drone protection. Iran discovered the ultimate asymmetric weapon: flood the sky with cheap threats until the expensive shield bleeds, itself dry defending against them. 155 words. So where does this leave us today, March 23, 2026? Israel's radar-based shield has performed beyond what most analysts thought possible. The ANTPY-2, even with losses across the region, continues to feed targeting data to interceptors defending Israeli cities. RO, David's Sling, and Iron Dome keep firing. Interception rates remain high, but the radar network has been damaged in ways that will take years and billions of dollars to fully repair. Interceptor stockpiles are under historic pressure, and Iran keeps producing missiles faster than the West manufactures weapons to stop them. Arrow 4, engineered specifically to handle hypersonic threats like the Fatah, is months away from operational deployment. Iron beam laser technology is scaling, but time is the rarest resource in this war. Iran's strategy has always been patience. A slow, grinding war of attrition designed to outlast the shield's ability to keep firing. The radar is the eye, the interceptors are the fist. And right now, both are being tested like never before in history. The question is not whether the shield is powerful. It is. The question is whether it can endure long enough for the next generation of weapons to arrive. This war is happening right now, and the radar battle you just learned about is the most important story nobody is fully explaining. If this gave you real understanding that you couldn't find anywhere else, hit subscribe immediately. Because we cover what mainstream headlines miss, with the depth they skip. Drop a comment. Do you think the ANTPY-2 radar losses will change the outcome of this war? Share this with someone who needs to understand what is really happening in the skies over the Middle East right now. The next video goes even deeper into Iran's hypersonic missile program, and the truth will shock you. Don't miss it.